later on in the week. We do respect your time. We will adhere to the schedule that has been printed for your viewing. So we will, first order of business is approval of the minutes that's been disseminated from the February 19th meeting. Can I get a motion that? All right, so let's adopt the agenda that's been presented.
So moved.
Second, it's been properly moved and second that we would adopt the agenda that's been presented for your viewing. We will proceed then with the approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to act on that?
So moved.
Properly moved and second that the approval of the minutes opposes. All right, so our first order of business pertains to the agenda is unfinished business. Thomas Boxley, Executive Director of the association, will present to us wayfinding solution development update.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, for your illustrious duties this morning. In the absence of our chairwoman, Ms. Peterson. Our first item agenda is our wayfinding application. You first met the Saleos team in October of 2024 when they presented their qualifications to the board and subsequently came down in November of 2024 for a site visit. During that particular site visit, they had the opportunity to meet with some of the Gullah community and some of the elders and other stakeholders that would assist in bringing this application to life. They are back today to give us an update on the application. Online, we have Mr. Kachanga Jackson joining us virtually with Mr. Clarence Boyd and Ms. Jasmine Cochran here in person to give us an update as to the progress to date. I will tell you that we are approaching 90% completion. We have a few outstanding items to complete before the application is fully ready. Those include, on my part internally, is the development of signage and the location of signage at our specific sites and placement locations. And then on the part of assisting our consultant will be the collection of more assets specific to site development, which is part of their purpose for being here to accomplish during this site visit. Mr. Jackson will give us an overview of the project scope today. You'll hear from Ms. Cochran, and she'll give us some highlights on the project work to date and also discuss one of the more important points of this particular project, which was the involvement of youth in the development of the application. She's got some exciting information on that. And then Mr. Boyd will round the presentation out with a demonstration of the website and leave some time for questions, just so that we are aware of some of the sites that we are highlighting in this phase of development. We have Old Schoolhouse Park, Robinson Junior High School, Fish Camp, Fisherman's Co-op, Dreesen Beach Park, which through that site, we will honor Singleton, Burks, and Bradley Beach, and the Tabby Ruins. And as just like right on time, Mr. Barnwell walks in. His timing is impeccable. Good morning, sir. And so these are some of the sites that we will be working to memorialize through the development of this action. And I also would like to remind you that this agenda item is directly related to our strategic action items, which one is to support the stabilization and preservation of historic neighborhoods and cultural sites, as well as supporting and providing training opportunities for Gullah youth. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our consultants. Again, we have Mr. Jackson online that'll give us an overview, and then we have Mr. Boyd and Ms. Cochran here joining us today to give us their part as well. So Mr. Jackson, are you there?
I am here. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mr. Boxley, and to the board and community. Thank you for allowing us, the privilege and opportunity to serve the community in this way. This has been an exciting project for us. From the moment that we first had the opportunity, I knew that this would be very impactful, not just to me personally, but the ramifications of what we're doing will be far-reaching. And so with that, I'm going to give you an update and do a screen share and show you where we are with the app. As Mr. Boxley mentioned, we are approaching the 90% phase. Before I show you the app, just to give you a little bit of context, since coming out there in November, one of the things that we did during the November meeting was information gathering and having meetings with elders and folks from the community to get a good idea and handle on some of the things that they would like to see, and just learn more of the history. From there, we began developing out the infrastructure for the app. So we have an iOS app and we have an Android app. And so we built out an infrastructure that allows this app to have great, what we call extensibility, which basically means that it will live beyond just this phase of this project, so that it doesn't just take on the stops that have been mentioned presently, but also it has the ability to continue to grow beyond that without having to have additional development. So we developed the app with extensibility in mind, saying that, hey, there may be more stops, there may be other things that are coming down the way, and so that there is no redevelopment necessary. This app is an app that has been developed so that it can be controlled dynamically, and that basically means that once it's submitted to the app stores through a content management system that we have developed custom for this project, you will be able to make real-time edits, add real-time stops just externally from the content management system, and it will update the app automatically. And so I'm going to do a screen share so that you can kind of see a little bit of the layout, and I'll walk you through where we are with this right now. Let's see. Make sure you can see my window. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully you can see my window with the Experience Gullah app. And so when the app opens, I'll do another screen share to show you. There is a video that opens the very first time a user comes into the app. And it's just a one-time experience. It's a quick, probably 30 to 35 second video that's just kind of a sizzle reel that kind of highlights Hilton Head and begins to drop the seeds, if you will, around the experiencing of Gullah culture while you're there in Hilton Head. And so within the app, what you'll see, the way that it is laid out, is we have different places that are popular places. The popular places represents not only the stops that have the augmented reality experiences, but this also has the ability to serve as a business directory. So whether there are local Gullah businesses and things of that nature, or we're highlighting partners and restaurants or other collaborators in this endeavor, they'll be able to be listed in here. And one of the things that you'll see, you may see these two names, the Whitney Museum of Art, you know that that's not in Hilton Head, and the Sweet Catch, that's not in Hilton Head. And that's because that is actually in New York. And so right now, the Whitney Museum of American Art in New York, through the end of May, is actually hosting a feature around the Gullah Geechee community. And so one of the other things that this app has the ability to do is to capture Gullah culture as it happens nationally and internationally, if that takes place. And so just calling this out and making that highlight, because it will obviously primarily first and foremost focus on Hilton Head Island and everything happening there. However, it also has been built with the ability to Sweet Catch is in Brooklyn, and they serve authentic Gullah food. And so it also has the ability to capture other Gullah experiences that are outside of just Hilton Head to be able to be placed into the app. But when you're in the app, you come up to a landing page, and we'll be able to feature the stops that we want up here in this top hero section. And so this is Fisherman's Co-op with the mural over there. And what you'll see here is there'll be a gallery that just kind of goes through pictures in this space. And with the mural, one of the items that we decided to do was we took the mural and we're making an augmented reality experience out of that. So with the crane, the boat, the oysters that you see in the picture, when a user gets to this location and they they take their camera and there'll be signage there that instructs them to do so, and they look at that mural. The items in the mural will come to life. The crane will come to life, the boat will come to life, the oyster will come to life, the rowboat will come to life, and they'll be placed virtually through augmented reality into the environment. And as those things are placed into the environment, the users will actually get to hear the story around this particular stop and experience, and why these particular items were chosen and are significant. They'll also, for the wayfinding feature, there's a travel guide. The travel guide gives them the ability to, when they come to this stop, no matter where they are in the city, no matter where they are in the U.S., they'd be able to click the travel guide button, and then what it will do is it will tell them how to get to this stop. It also has, and all of the stops are the same, it also has the ability to find nearby hotels, nearby restaurants. And this has a dual focus because, one, it operates from the perspective of, with the CDC being able to have its own directory of its own partners that are listed in here that they may want to feature or highlight. But then also, we also have the ability to tie into the Google API, which gives us the ability to say, okay, when you get into the area, it can do a broader scope of letting you know all of the hotels that are closest to the spot that you're standing, as well as the restaurants. So it's two focus. It has one, we can do it from highlighting the specific places in Hilton Head that are chosen to be highlighted, but then two, it has the option to be able to be much more broad and be able to pull anything in the surrounding area if that's chosen. Users will be able to interact and give reviews or comments when they go to an experience. And so these are the different experiences. Whether you're going to Mitchellville and you're going to the Toni Morrison Reflection Bench, at this location, what would happen is you would have what's called geospatial audio. And so once you get to that location, there's going to be a prompt on your phone that says that there's an audio event. And when you're sitting there, there's an audio track that plays that has narration, and it has soundscaping with sound effects underneath it while you're sitting there on the bench, overlooking outward. And so it gives you the history, it gives you the story. And so that's triggered via what we call this geospatial audio. And so each of these different stops, again, they have all the same similarities as far as travel guide, how to get there, hotels, restaurants, reviews and comments and things of that nature. But the different stops also have different features of what will be actually brought to life. So whether it's, if you're coming to fish camp, when they come to fish camp, one of the things that has been created there through the partnership that Mr. Boxley has talked with them about, which is they'll be able to have QR codes that are scannable at the tables. And from that QR code, there's going to be a short animation video that is played. And that video, it will be narrated. And then by Mr. Simmons, one of Mr. Simmons' family members, and then they will have the opportunity to either get a discount or potentially something free off of the menu. But that's kind of part of that partnership. And so once there, they'll be able to scan. There'll be a scan button. We just got the signage for the marker triggers this week, and so we'll be able to integrate that into the app this week. But they'll be able to scan there at the fish camp and be able to have an experience there. Then when it comes to the Tabby, what we're looking at for the Tabby, because there's been several things that have been done from virtual reality, there's news articles, there's all kind of things to obviously protect the property and just make sure that it's safe for users. What will happen at this space is there'll be a scan button that has the signage that links to the signage that's just being created. And when they scan that QR code, it's going to place items that were found in the dig around the Barnwell Tabby. It's going to place those items virtually into the landscape. And once those items are placed, a user will be able to click on the different items. And as they click the different items, they hear narration, they get different informational facts about those items and about that particular experience in that stop. We have the high school With the high school, right now there was very limited photos on that as far as collateral, as far as being able to get a good view. What we're doing at this stop, this will be a kind of a great rebuild. We're rebuilding this structure that doesn't exist anymore. So we're doing basically digital architecture, and so we're taking it, we're recreating it, and what will be able to happen with this location is that they will actually be able to place the junior high school right there into the environment at scale. So although the building doesn't exist, we are recreating it, and they'll be able to do a virtual drop of that digital asset where they'll be able to look through their phone, see the asset, move their phone around while they're also hearing the story around that particular location. Again, New York was placed in here just because, as a point to highlight that there were some Gullah-centric things that are happening in New York right now that ties to South Carolina. And so we wanted to make sure that we show that there is the extensibility in the app to be able to show those type of functions. Also, the app features a highlight section. This think blogs or think partnerships with local companies or restaurants or tourism or whatever. You'll be able to make posts and think of it like a blog type thing where you'll be able to highlight different things. If it's coupons to point people towards different businesses or establishment, all of those features are in here. That can be done in the CMS. It's just typed in there and it's saved and it automatically shows up in the app. That's what this highlight is for. And then you'll see this has saved places. Folks are able to save places that they've been, whether they're the experiences or their restaurants or businesses, or they're able to save highlights. And then also, they're able to log in using their Google account, using their Apple ID account. They have push notifications so that as things come in the app that's there, we can support multiple languages. They have the ability to email. They can rate the app. We obviously have a privacy policy. It links to the website, which you're going to see. You'll see the website here in a little while when I turn it over to Mr. Boyd. But we also have links to the social media, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. So all of these things are in there. The app is fully built. The structure is fully built. Now all we are doing is simply dropping in the collateral that we've been working on over the last 3 months and just putting them in place, putting in the text, putting in the final images, because the biggest lift was developing the tech to support the infrastructure. But all of that has been completed on that part. So I want to take a second and show you with a separate screen share just I want to show you the sizzle video, and I believe the audio should come through. And then I'll show you a couple of the AR models, and then I'll pass it over to Mr. Boyd to show you what's been done on the website. So let me get this set for you.
While you're setting that up, Mr. Jackson, can you also speak to some of the involvement that you've had with some of the interns and the level that they've engaged in the creation of this?
Yes, absolutely. And so, yeah, thank you for that. And I know Jasmine will cover this a little bit more, but the great part about this entire project is the interns were involved in different aspects. And so with the XR piece, which is extended reality, which encompasses augmented reality, which I'm getting ready to show you, virtual reality, and then mixed reality. The interns were given an overview of kind of what that technology is, how it actually works in the workplace, and then their participation in this was seeing how we did the modeling, and then helping us get feedback on how interactions should take place. And one of our interns in this particular group actually had a strong affinity towards music, and I'll let Jazz talk about that and demonstrate what her contribution was to this project, which is pretty significant. So I'm gonna share the screen and just show you the drafted sizzle. It's only 17 seconds, but that's intentional because this shows at the very beginning, like I said, at the opening of the app, and it's really meant to be a teaser to say, hey, come to Hilton Head, see Gullah culture, and things of that nature. So let me get this set to share for you. And So that's just what opens during the app and the initial. But I want to show you now is I want to show you some of the 3D models that will be animations that people will experience when they are looking, when they go to one of the stops and they have the experience. So when we look at the mural, and I told you that we would be pulling out certain things. One of the objects that we're pulling out is the bird. And so the bird will be able to be placed onto the ground digitally. And so they'll be able to scan, they'll be able to take their phone and look at the mural, click on the mural, and then these objects come out. And so as the objects come out, it automatically triggers in and clicks in the audio and the narration about the stop, about the significance of that particular object. And so that's one. And then let me show you another one. Apologize, I have to do these one at a time to show you since the app isn't publicly available. This one, very simply, we pulled out the oysters, and so there'll be information about the oystering as an industry, the significance to the environment, to South Carolina, to the Gullah people, things of that nature. And so this will be a 3D object that they'll be able to manipulate, just as I'm doing it with the mouse. They'll be able to manipulate that with their finger on their phone. And again, while they're doing that, they're going to be receiving digital information that is displayed on the screen, as well as audio information that is coming in into their ears. And I'll show you one more. I'll show you one of the examples of the soundscaping and of like what you would hear at Mitchellville. These are not final recordings, but these are the recordings just so that you get an idea of how it happens. And the reason I call that out is because one of the things that we are doing is we are getting Native Gullah people to actually do the audio narration at the different stops and the different experiences, just to enrich the overhaul experience of this. So this is a sample. Here we go.
Shore of South Carolina.
I'm not sure if you can hear the audio. Can you hear the audio on that?
Yes, we can hear it.
You can hear it. Okay.
In 18.
Go back and share it again.
1962, a year before the Emancipation Proclamation, a new community was born, governed by those who had been enslaved only months before. This place was Mitchellville, the first self-governed town of formerly enslaved African Americans in the United States. Its story is that of the Gullah people, descendants of West Africans in the Low Country, and their extraordinary journey from bondage to freedom, guided by hope and resilience. The story begins amid the Civil War on Hilton Head Island. In November 1861, Union forces won the Battle of Port Royal and occupied the Sea Islands. Plantation owners fled inland, taking along as many enslaved laborers as they could, yet leaving behind over 10,000 people in bondage who suddenly found themselves liberated.
So I won't let that go. It's about a 7 to 8 minute mixed down experience, but just to show you that at each stop, there'll be something that's engaging going along with the interaction that they're there to do. So all of that to say, where we are right now is what we anticipate over the next 2 to 3 weeks is really nothing more than just loading in assets. Most of everything that needed to be developed has been developed. It's just now placing it into the app that is actually fully created and can be modified dynamically and then be able to be deployed for full testing and full deployment into the marketplace. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Boyd, and he can show you what's been done with the website. And then after that, we'll turn it to Jazz, and then we can field questions and comments and things of that nature.
Morning, Council. Let's see if I can have me set up here. Oh, you go ahead. You work. And while she's doing that, I have been charged with creating the website for the Experience Gullah wayfinding app. The website is meant to be not only a complimentary piece to the application, but also as we began to work through this process, I was assigned 3 young men, 3 high school students that have been great interns, and they've been kind of my boots on the ground, and we've developed and had a lot of discussion around, and they've been very, very involved in the overall thought process and design of the website. So when we were getting feedback on creating a digital directory, kind of repository of information, they were very intimate in that process, and so it's been a great experience for not only myself but for the gentleman as well. And so, not only do we want the website to complement the application, but we also this may be the first and the only thing that folks on the outside will see. The application is meant to provide an experience when you're in Hilton Head, but in order to reach folks outside of Hilton Head, and we had this experience in Tulsa with the Greenwood Rising Historical Center that spoke on the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. The website was what attracted folks to the facility, and so it's very much an outward-facing and a marketing tool and an opportunity for the CDC from that perspective. And so one of the things that we've been working on is kind of determining, there are within the 13 historic neighborhoods and the 9 or 10, the handful of placement points that we have, there could be multiple entries to the website and to the application. So if somebody experiences it for the first time when they get to Mitchellville or when they get to Squire Pope, those entry levels, we had to take that into consideration. So we kind of divided it up into different sections that way. And then you also have, from a marketing perspective, we looked at it from, the mindset of you may have somebody past, present, and future. So somebody who's interested in the history, somebody who's interested in what's going on now, how can they experience it in real time, and then how can they be a part of it later on down the line. And so it's really meant to be as well as a resource for all things Gullah culture within the Hilton Head community. So, and again, we've been working on getting all of the structure in place so that it aligns with the app. And now we're in the process of really building out those assets. And so, once you get to the site, the landing page again will have similar to the application. It will have kind of some slideshows that will give opportunity for different feature events, different things that are going on. And this is something that can be dynamic. It can be changed up. It can rotate and provide you with some different aspects of whatever's current. You're able to scroll down. And again, a lot of this is we're still in development, still in making sure that we've got the right images, the right features, the right context. But the site, when we originally designed it, was really just a visual layout and an architecture for us to place those digital assets. Again, we don't know what we don't know in terms of the history of the community, and we wanted to be cognizant of that and allow space for that. And so we've built the site in a way that it's very expandable, and it can contract as the seasons or different things change. So some of the items may be in real time, such as like some of the events. And then some of the items may be, maybe permanent. But we wanted to provide kind of especially on the homepage, we wanted to provide kind of an executive summary of all things that are going on within the site. So you'll be able to see some of the highlights as you scroll through. And again, as we are developing the app, we've got promotion. So we're promoting the app on the website. We're promoting the website on the app. So it's really a back and forth process. But one of the things that I'm excited about, and my interns have been great about, we've kind of divided and conquered. I've tasked them with putting together a list of, hey, Jamal, where do you like to eat? What are the Gullah spots in Hilton Head that you like to eat? So we've been compiling those lists, and then we've been allocating all of those items. We've been tagging and categorizing them by neighborhood, by category. So for instance, if you go to Bagel, this is one that we've been working on really in detail. Each neighborhood will have its own kind of landing page. So as you go through the app, you'll be able to scan the app, go directly to this page in real time. It will give you some history about Bagel, some of the high level points that we want to feature, but then, we want to also include, kind of these summaries of different things or different entities that are located in these areas. So, and again, all of this is editable, and so we're really looking at this point for feedback. But one of the things that we really pointed out on in Bagel was, Bakersfield, the Hilton Head Blue Jays, and then Dan Dressen and his Hall of Fame. So we wanted to make sure that we included kind of these snippet points for people. And then as you click through, there's more detail. They have their own separate entity pages. So that's Bagel. And then we've been working on Stony as well. So we've really been building out and having discussions about the Stony, both Big Stony and Little Stony historic districts, and the distinction between the two of them and the similarities. So we've been working on different aspects of each one of those. And then I want to, let me see here. So on our culture page, and we've hidden some of the links in the navigation just because they haven't been fully built out, but this is actually available so that you can go in, see it, really look at it, and experience it. But we wanted to make sure that we've added these different items. And so my boys have been going in and looking for all the books that are Gullah related and how we can link to either the author, and that provides them with a direct, commerce and business opportunity, but also the museums, the tours that are going on. We want to make sure that we are providing space and visibility for economic development and improvement. And then we've also got, places where we can partner with different organizations that are working in the community or in the area, whether it's the Mitchellville Juneteenth Festival or Sankofa Nights. Any of those events we can also include, highlight, and partner with different organizations. So there's always opportunity there. And again, these are working slides, and so we're working through creating graphics that will match up and align with all the content that we're building on the application. Let me see if I've got anything else that I wanted to discuss. Oh, one of the things that Mr. Jackson also mentioned was the fact that we will also have a Gullah TV area. So media, storytelling. I know that some of the existing organizations, they already provide digital content. So we wanted to provide a way that we can embed that into the site, have it visible for, and again, this creates an archive or a library of all things Gullah that you guys are able to control, dictate, and really memorialize the history so that we don't lose those stories. With that, I will open it up. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Well, first, let me give you kudos, compliments on what you presented to us today. It's very engaging. It's very interesting, leading edge stuff. But I have a quick question.
Yes.
About one of the pictures for the churches you have in Bagal. The historic
You're a pastor.
Yes, but the historic First African Baptist, we don't recognize it. Is it that the picture you have for First African, the church? Go back to Bagal. You have pictures of 3 churches. You have Queen Chapel, St. James, and historic First African Baptist Church. That is not. I don't know where that church comes from. Keep going.
This one here?
Yes.
Okay. And again, we haven't gotten everything finalized. So a lot of the images, as Kajanga said, are difficult. A lot of the brand assets are difficult to locate. So if we've gone to the internet to find those, they may not be correct, or they may, we may have an image of one of the members of the community, and they say, I don't like that picture of me. Put this one on, or change that. So again, all of this, and that's the feedback that I appreciate, we appreciate, because we're not here every day. But as we collect these assets, we can replace those and update it immediately.
Yeah, because before you present it again to someone else who knows that.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely this is just the demo version.
Yeah. I just want to make them aware.
Right.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Before he presents the demo again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, now I will open it up to Jasmine, who's going to talk about the education piece in the program.
Before you move from that, I just want to follow up on Pastor's question. I'm interested in understanding the process that we're going to use to, lack of a better term, sort of spell check this, right?
Right.
I mean, obviously that's a historic First African Baptist Church somewhere. It's just not Hilton Heads, right? You mentioned our Hall of Famer, Mr. Dan Dreesen. His name is not spelled correctly, right? Okay, so there's not that I want to pick it apart, but I just want to understand the process that we're going to go through to make sure that when we do go live, or the next time you show a demo, we've gotten to a point of some sort of comfort,
Right.
Because I think the main thing around this is we want it to be authentic, right? It's not something that we're canning up from somewhere else. It
Exactly.
is germane to Hilton Head, and you've got a lot of experts in the area that can help with that to make sure that it's right. So I just want to understand how we're going to get to that.
Yeah, and again, this is really a wireframe, a skeleton, just kind of a draft model of the site. And so after we've reviewed it internally, we will disable the visibility, and we will go back, password protect it, and have ongoing conversations with folks. We'll walk through each one of the different pages of the site, get the expert opinions, make sure that we've got everything cleaned up. We'll work with Mr. Boxley to make sure that the elders in the community have had eyes on it and signed off on any language or content, both on the application and the website.
Let me jump in just right quick. We have
Yeah.
a session from today from 1:30 to 3, and we'll have, I know Ms. Grant is gonna join us in that session, and we'll be walking through some of those pages as well.
Say, Dr.
Yeah.
Grant, I'm comfortable.
I think Mr. Brown volunteered to proofread it, so.
Yeah, but we'll.
Can I jump in
We'll do a full audit.
too?
Oh, go ahead, Kenji.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump into just so that everybody's aware. So this obviously is a internal demo, but what typically happens from a protocol perspective is we would release an alpha app internally. The alpha app would come to the board, to leadership, to community stakeholders before it goes to beta. Beta is alpha comes first, then beta comes when we've done what's been stated, which is the proofreading, the making sure the spell checking, make sure the historical accuracy is in place. And so out of this meeting, this is kind of to give the update and show you where we're at. And then all of the assets, like I said, as they come in over the next week or two, they'll be consolidated. And we put forth the alpha, which is basically saying everything's done, all the assets it's all been curated and it's all in place. We hand it over. We give we have a form that we will turn over to the team where they can give us feedback on what corrections or additions needs to be made. Then a beta app would be able to be released for a small subset of the community to test and garner feedback before you do it public. So it goes alpha internal, beta for a test group, and then public distribution.
I have one thing. Appreciate the effort. I think everything looks great. It makes sense, and gets me excited about how we're investing in our culture going forward. So just going through the website demonstration, one thing that I think is missing or could be missing is that there's no place for Gullah families to share their story, right? So if I'm from Bagall, and I have pictures of family reunion, or I can tell stories about my family, like say the Rivers family or someone, how could we integrate that? Right? So I know that so many people share on Facebook and social media, but they're sharing family history. And how do we keep that right? So in talking about engaging the young people, can they see themselves? Can they tell their story? Or even the older people, folks that don't live here. So how can that be integrated into this where that's living and breathing as well?
And I think because you've been managing and working on the social media aspect, so
Oh, yeah.
I think you can talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's a great point. I think that there's definitely space for that on the website also. But another big part of what we're working on is social media and marketing, right, this experience, because we want everyone that comes to know what it is that we're doing, but then also giving that platform to them. Even with the Gullah TV, giving them all these different opportunities to share their experience, to share their culture, share their history, in all the ways that they're able to, right? And so that's why the internship was so big for me was, as much as I'd love to come in and just do everything, and we can build the website, we can do the social media, we can do all that stuff, right? But it's getting the youth involved. It's having them tell their story. It's having them tell us how they want to be portrayed, how they want to be remembered, how they want their childhood or even their parents' memory to live on, right? And so that's why we got the youth involved. And so what I did was I have 3 teams of 3, so I have 9 interns total. And we have the 3 boys that worked on the website, which you guys saw. We have 3 working on social media, which is right now it's a learning process, right? It's an internship. So they're learning about branding, how we make templates, how we get things up to industry standard, but then how do we share our narrative? How do we share your story? How do we make it uniform so that everyone knows what's being talked about, so that you're able to share, but also so that we're able to maintain and encourage people that visit to look at the Wayfinding app, to go to Gullah TV, to experience these different things, right? And then the last piece was the XR, and that was getting them involved in how we build these assets, how we build the XR experiences, to the soundscaping, how do we lay the groundwork, how do we share this narrative in that way? And so all of it is encouraging them to use these different tools, use these different industry standard tools to share their experiences, to share their family history, to share the legacy of what they've witnessed or observed through their lives. Does that kind of make sense? And so another really cool thing, so I think, first of all, I think the boys did a great job on the website. They did the research, if you want to go through the Slack, they went through and literally spent so many hours doing research, writing up reports, sending that information over. I mean, they had, their hand in this was much greater than our hand in sharing your history. And that's important to me. For the XR piece, we have one girl who's really into music, very musically talented. And so one thing that she was interested in was learning more about the industry of music, but also how can she share her experience on the island through music. And so she's written 2 songs now. One of them is just an instrumental, just, something to play over the app while you're in the app. But another one was, she's actually taking the time to write out lyrics that actually captures the history. And so I thought that was incredible. And so they're all working on all these different pieces that all work together, but they're all individually working on them. And we're all, they're collaborating, they're talking about it. And I'm hoping that by them working on it, they're getting excited and they're sharing with their friends what they're doing, so that not only are we getting visitors and other people involved in this app, but the people that are here, the kids that are here, the people that are going to keep this island going, that they're getting excited about it, that they're wanting to continue on sharing these stories with people as they get older. And so that's kind of where where we're at in the internship and things like that. Any questions on that, or anything you want me to touch on specifically?
I feel like this was somebody else's idea. Like I'm having a deja vu moment. So I'm not taking any credit for this. Exciting stuff, okay? Yeah. I'm just wondering how the board feels about charging Mr. Boxley with, when we launch, that we have a big spread about this locally and invite those interns to be in the same company with the elders and other community members. I think that can be such a great moment for us to have that. Did you already?
That is somebody else's idea. No, we actually have been having some conversations with our communications department as well to do a night, Ms. Woolwine in the communications department. When the time is right, we'll do a nice community launch, a spread, a release on social media. We'll have a nice launch party.
Well, I actually invited the interns to come here today, but they originally didn't have school, and they did have school, so they were unable to, leave class to be here. But if we had had it our way, they would have all been here, and they would have presented their own contributions, obviously, so.
I just think that's so important because obviously they've taken ownership.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
and somebody keep calling me an elder for some reason, but too often, when we sort of transition into that role, we sort of become gatekeepers,
Right.
okay, and we have to understand that the only way that we're going to sustain is to give the youth some room to breathe and grow. And in this case, they have. Right. And I think that just helps us with sustainability down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really, we talked about investing. You had mentioned, investing in the culture. Investing in the youth is investing in the culture.
Well, let me not so much about what you just presented, but about the whole totality of what was presented to us today. Definitely leading edge, cutting edge stuff. It's a win-win-win, because if you live in a tourist area, there are people who have a mindset, I've seen it all, I've done it all, so I don't need to go let the tourists go. Right. But now you're presenting things that would get them out of the house, because it's different. They have not engaged in it before. It's definitely generational. I was happy to see the piece about Sweet Catch in New York, because all of us have relatives who are part of the migration. Yeah. And it's good to know that 60, 70, 80 years later that the Gullah heritage is continuing there. I've got cousins who live in Brooklyn. Better believe that later on today I'm going to call them and ask them about Sweet Catch. So that's the thing that is so contagious about this, because it's different. It's relevant. It's going to get people involved and out. So absolutely, this is a work in progress. I'm not certain how many other communities around are engaged or involved. So not that we're nitpicking on anything you presented, because it is all awesome.
Absolutely.
And we want the best product out there, and anything that we can do from our end to help facilitate that, to help make that happen, just consider it done. We're just an ask or phone call away. But absolutely, thank you for what you have done, and Mr. Jackson for what you have done, and what you continue to do to make this whole project successful.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I have more of an operations question here. Just, it's more about the sustainability of the product. Like, what's the, I don't know who from the team is the right person to answer, but how do we keep it like fresh, right? And up to date and current. Like what's that look like once it's done and it's launched? And
Well, you're stuck with us forever. Is that the bottom line? No, I'm just kidding. No, that is a great question. And so that's one of the things that really kind of separates us in the marketplace, is that we really do design so that we're wanted, but we're not necessary. This has been designed with a content management system that literally in a matter of seconds, you can swap out an image, to make it fresh. Like literally, it's less than 10 seconds. You can create an experience. So we can swap out new graphics. We can put in new text. We can, all of those things happen dynamically. And so the goal, there's twofolds. One, this is the value, going back to the interns, of having them take some ownership, because what I look at it as is I think there's potential for this to be a continuing program, that maybe you get high school students that continue to kind of come and help manage it. And the CMS, the content management system, has been set up in such a way that a high school student can use it very, very quickly and very, very easily. And so, one, engaging interns to do it, whether it's high school students, college students, or volunteers from the community. But you will have the ability to control every page of that app as you want to feature new businesses, if you want to feature new experiences or new articles. That can be done on the backside without having to do redevelopment. We wanted to make sure you didn't have to go hire another developer to keep updating the app for you, because that's one of the downfalls that a lot of folks end up with when they are creating these style of apps, is that you constantly have to have a developer and you're constantly having to have that strategic investment. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate money. I love money. It's great. It's wonderful. However, in these projects, for it to be fresh, you need to be able to do it and manage it on your own. And so we will provide training in that first 6 months to a year to make sure that we're walking with your team on whoever needs to be trained on how to do it. And we know that it's very simple to manage. So
does it work where they're all integrated from that same platform? So the app, the website, I know social media is its own thing, but they're all kind of linked. How does it?
So great question. So some aspects. So the app, the full website is inside of the app. So I didn't show that, but I think I tried to, but it goes to a different screen. But so the full website is everything that's just on the website is in the app, and that's managed with its own CMS. And so there are some areas that we can make some overlap, because some things on the website are going to be static. But if there are particular pieces that are dynamic, and that's where the alpha conversation comes in. If you're saying, hey, these are sections that we want to have changing frequently, we can make sure that we marry those CMSs together so that can be accomplished.
Thank you.
So if I might, what a great job. I mean, really, it really is exciting to see this coming around. I kind of had some thoughts as y'all were talking, and I'd written some things down. There's a, and I'm thinking out loud on this. As you stated, you've got family that lives in New York, right? You've got lineage that is all over the country. How can this be utilized to pull that lineage back in so people can find some of their family, right? May not have realized they were part of this history. And my question also goes to is that the churches aspect? So within the website, do you link to the churches and you have some kind of a lineage, tree there, or something that helps people find their families? and it ties them back to it a little bit more. So, that's something I was thinking about. And of course, Mr. Barnwell, he told a great story about the pecan tree, and how that used to be their place of government, back in the day. So as those parks come along, right, have those stories told, at the new parks that are being built or at the trees. The gatekeepers, right? So you talk about that, right? Who are the elders of the community that are making things happen? We need to celebrate and recognize those that have come before us and have done great things, because we are losing the stories of our community, not just from a Gullah side, but from an island-wide side, and how those stories are put out there so that people come in and see why we are who we are. And that's a real big part, and that's something I think we need to take a look at. I would also suggest that maybe on the website with your social media feeds, you've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, kind of live, kind of throwing some things through there as people are going in and making posts that they're there, and it shows up on social media, it comes through, and that could be sort of your content aggregator for those people that are coming in and utilize that for the website, right? So there's other avenues, but you want to utilize the experiences that people are having to help build your website. Recognizing the Gullah Corridor. The Gullah Geechee Historic Neighborhood Community Development Corporation, while Hilton Head based, is a catalyst for other areas within the Gullah community, up and down the coast. So, how you play into that, and I'll say this out loud, Mr. Boxley, does Gullah Geechee Historic Community Development Corporation become something a little bit larger than just Hilton Head? Thinking outside of the box just a little, how can this, propel you to something a little bit bigger? Not to take over anybody else, but just, what's that avenue? And then, on the backside of it, the analytics of the information that's being gathered, how that can be utilized, where people are coming from, where they're going, where they're staying, all that aspect, so that you make certain you've got an ability to reach them, whether through push notifications or whatnot, to say, hey, this is something that's coming up. Here's a great, anniversary that's going to happen. The analytics are just as important as the marketing side of it, and what are we gathering? So, just some quick thoughts, but overall, absolutely wonderful. And I love the fact that you've got 9 interns that are working on this, because that's what it's all about, is our future and the kids.
Thank you for those comments. And yes, data is the new oil, right? That is the way of the future. And that is one of the things that the consultant team and I had conversations about early on, is how do we capture the data, and how do we make sure that we can provide, the experience beyond just the in-person experience for folks. So we're definitely working to build those pieces out. I'd like to take a minute, because we've got Mr. White and Mr. Barnwell here, to ask if they have any questions or comments based on what they've seen as well. And thank you both for being here.
Elders first, right, Uncle David?
Good morning to the members of the Gullah Geechee Historic Neighborhood Community Development Corporation. And thank you all who are here serving in this fantastic capacity for doing what you're doing, even though you're many years late. It's better to be late than not at all. No, that's a fact. The mayor referred to that. Thank you, Mr. Boxley, for recognizing age in the room today. Thank you, Reverend Johnson, for recognizing that photograph. Would like to thank the consultants as well as the interns as well. I miss mentioning that. There are several vacancies that I would like to call your attention to. One congratulations on pinpointing the oyster. The oyster industry in the Hilton Head community was of great value prior to the bridge coming to Hilton Head. In the area close to the church, St. James Church, that will be relocating at some point, I'm told, a lady named Lilla Bennett used to walk from close to where the late Perry White House is located now to Jenkins Island to open oysters 5 days a week at the L.P. Majoni Oyster Factory in Jenkins Island. There were several oyster factories on Hilton Head. I'm not going to take your time to go into that. The point is, oysters was a major part of the economic engine for not just whites, but all residents that lived on Hilton Head. Also, the men harvest the oysters and brought them in by bateaus to the L.P. Majoni company that did, at that time, do raw oyster, they did do steam oysters as well as fresh shucked oysters. There's a lot of history back in there, Mr. Brown. I see you trying to grab it, but the other part that's linked, that's missing, I congratulate and thank the town for highlighting the boat, shrimp boat, Captain Dave's, down at the site where the old Hilton Head Fishing Co-op used to be. There's a link as it relates to the seafood industry, as it relates to the protection of the estuary that's missing, and that is the Hilton Head Fishing Cooperative was instrumental in stopping that BASF chemical plant from relocating over at Victoria Bluff. There are some, I'm not trying to be critical here. I'm as a senior member of the community, I'm just relaying some facts that, and I did give a copy of the presentation that I did for Coastal Discovery Museum and Coastal Discovery Museum and at Honeyhorn, and one other group I give a presentation on that whole BASF story. But that is in print. I didn't, and I did do a personal narration of that. That can be found. All you gotta do is look for it. The other thing is more personal, forgive me. But all of the, and I'm gonna be very quick on this, all of the restoration of the Barnwell Tabby was done and paid for by me personally. I believe I saw a part of the roof of the restoration of that building with a shadow on it. And if that shadow is there, I certainly would not want that to be a public part of the presentation, because the family and I took a lot of time, interest, and pain in trying to choose the right contractors to do the right job on that Tabby restoration. And I thank the Planning Commission and all those that helped to give the approval. Therefore, the family have employed on a part-time basis an archaeologist to give us advice on trying to do all of the right things in terms of the presentation, the marketing, and all those other tech, including we have a person coming online within the next month or less to give us advice on developing a website, as well as doing some marketing. We met yesterday with a staff person from the town who is willing to work with the family on ingress and egress to get to that site. And we welcome the town participation wholeheartedly, Mr. Boxley, but the town have not aggressively put forth any effort to this point, except for the visit yesterday, in helping us to make that site marketable. It is considered the oldest building on Hilton Head, according to the University of Utah, along with the help of the University of South Carolina Archaeology Department. The site, dirt taken from that site was last seen daylight between 1630 and 1700. So it is considered the oldest building on Hilton Head historically as we know it. Now, I didn't come prepared to do all this morning. I don't have this information that I shared on this sheet. I'm holding it up so the screen will see it. Reverend Johnson, don't call me at your church to do anything. I'm not prepared to do biblical things, but the historical part I have lived for only 89 plus years. Thank you very much. There are more I can say.
Thank you,
If
sir.
you have any questions, I'd like to answer them before I sit down.
Thank you, Mr. Barnwell. I most certainly appreciate the work that you have done and the work that your family has done in preserving the site. And we will definitely consult with you before we work any further in portraying any photographs, any artifacts or anything like that live. I know that we've had a couple of conversations offline about that, but I will definitely reach out and circle back with you. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that we want this to be part of the historic preservation effort that we are working towards through the CDC for this most important site.
Thank you so much, Mr. Broxley. I would like to say for the record that our effort is to make the Tabby available for research continuously, archaeologically research, as well as education, not just for archaeology, but education for the various groups, school, senior citizen groups come there. In May, we will have 40 students coming from colleges and universities as far as the University of Michigan and as close as Claflin College in Orangeburg, coordinated through a subsidiary of Penn Community Services. Ms. Angela Dorr is coordinating that. So students are still coming on an annual basis to visit that historical site and analyzing it. We are continuously opening the opportunity for education for all. That's the sole purpose. We want it to remain in the family in perpetuity. That's our goal. Thank you very much for this
Before you take
opportunity.
your seat.
Yes, sir?
I just wanted to say thank you for being you. You are a walking legacy, walking history. And when you speak, people listen. Whenever I'm in your presence, I give you the due respect that you deserve. And you don't need to, anything that you've lived, you don't need to write down. I don't think anybody's going to ever challenge you on your point of reference. So just thank you so much, sir.
I'm honored, Reverend Johnson, to be able to carry the legacy of our family. And I'm a 4th-generation native from one side of the family and a 5th-generation native from the other side of the family. So I will yield now to a younger member of the family, as you have pointed out, and my apology for taking so long.
Oh, it's okay, because I do remember you telling me you weren't looking for a job.
That is true. I am not looking for a job.
The younger member of the family.
I don't know about all that, but anyway, good morning to Mr. Mayor, the board, Mr. Boxley, the consultants. It was really great to sit back and listen because you're dealing with some cutting edge stuff here. And that's outstanding. And I'm gonna tell a quick story. We have 5 grandchildren, ages 14 down to 10. And they all came to visit me this past Thanksgiving. And the 14-year-old said to me, "Granddad, I would love to find out a little more about the family history." So, I chatted with him, I explored some things. And then I said, "Caleb," I said, "I'm gonna give you a booklet. Because when we did family reunions, we really encapsulated the family history going back generations. I said, take this with you, read it. If you have any questions, call me, I'll fill in the blanks for you." To my dismay, when I went in the room he was staying in after they left, the booklet was right there where I gave it to him. I'm saying all that to say this. I think this cutting edge stuff is a way for young people to learn about their history, stay engaged. So for that, I say thank you. The second thing that I'll add quickly to the consultants. I noticed Robinson Junior High School was mentioned. Believe it or not, there are some individuals around who attended Robinson Junior High School. I'm not a historian, so I'm not a good person to talk to, but I do know some people who attended Robinson Junior High School. And Mr. Boxley, the group that we had lunch going back sometime, those individuals who attended that session, they all went to Robinson Junior High School. I think it would be a great piece to what you have here if you could capture an interview with people who actually attended Robinson Junior High School, although it's going to be virtual. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Great work.
Mr. White, thank you for that commentary. And before you leave now, I'm gonna ask that you set us up another meeting like you did last time. I got lunch. Lunch on me.
I'll take your phone now.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Moving forward, if there are no more comments about the wayfinding application, I'd like to thank Mr. Jackson, thank our consultant team of Ms. Cochran and Mr. Boyd for the presentation. And we'll move on into our next item, which is new business, our fiscal year 2026 budget. And to tee this up, with this agenda item, I'm seeking formal approval by the board for our proposed operational budget for fiscal year 26. The next step of that, for your information, would be town council approval in May, and with the fiscal year beginning July 1. if you look, some of the highlights of this particular budget request are that I'm requesting an increase for the positions of senior project manager and program coordinator. These staff members will help to manage some of the programs that we have slated for this year to launch, including this wayfinding application and also including the lending programs that we will be developing, and also to help manage some of the financial education workshops that we are proposing and that we implemented last year. Would be of tremendous help to me. The goal is to onboard a project manager as soon as the fiscal year begins. We've also, in highlighting some of the budgetary items, we've reduced some line items now that we have a better handle on operations, some of which include like marketing, printing, and publishing. We've also maintained the level of funding requested in FY25 for land purchase, as well as for our programs, our loan programs in the area of small business development and real estate. And the reason behind that is that while it was an ambitious goal, in 2025, we just weren't quite ready for those particular programs. But I'm also a firm believer, a wise man taught me as a kid to measure twice and cut once, so that we don't find ourselves in a situation that we can't manage or handle. So that I think that we are in a better position from the perspective of organizational development and community support to manage these programs as we move forward. So again, if you looking at the numbers there, our fiscal year request for the budget this year is an increase of about 2% at $3,479,922.
All right, the board members, we've heard the proposal coming from Mr. Boxley. Is there any discussion before we take action?
Yes. Thank you for putting this together, Mr. Boxley. All the items that are laid out in the budget tie back to our strategic plan. Okay, so I don't have a problem with it. As it relates to the budget, I would like to charge Mr. Boxley with coming back to us with a financial plan that focuses on the revenue side. Okay, that's a piece that we talked about during strategic planning. I think we gave him a number that we wanted him to raise. So, you know, sort of things that I've got on my mind off the cuff here. The town has a new grant administrator that I understand is being very aggressive with going after grants. You know, all the opportunities there to pull in funding. Now that we're sort of getting into launching the website, the app, there's marketing opportunities there. So does the CDC position itself to take on some of the ATAX opportunity that we have here at the town, okay? And then as we are looking at development on Hilton Head, you know, we've got monies in here to possibly purchase land, but are there opportunities for the CDC to be an equity partner in some projects so that there's some revenue coming in? Okay, so I just want to start to, you know, from a very high level, understand where we're going as far as the income side on this. Obviously, we're not going to spend the 3.5 tomorrow, but I do have concerns about a lot going out and not as much coming in. We've got to, you know, be conscious of that. So I just want to spend some time working that out with the board as understanding, you know, where we're going. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I'd agree with Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
I like this group. You're making my job easy. So when our chair asks, how did I do? Please tell her I tried my best. All right, so we've heard.
I guess I do have a question. In the budget, is it, I didn't think of this, Thomas, when we talked about it prior to this, but is there, what's the town's kind of commitment to our budget? Like, how does that work? Is that office space? Is that, some admin support? Like, what's the town?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I think that the town has provided a significant amount of support for the CDC as we have gone through as we matriculate through our growth phase. We have support from our marketing department, our communications department, at cost, and basically free service. For us, we have the part-time services of Miss Irvin, who also prepares, handles all of our logistical approach from the town clerk position, as well as support for the CDC. We definitely have office space here. In the future, it will be necessary that we spend money and acquire our own location. So that would be of cost, but it has been of significant value to be able to house here with the town. I think that we have an excellent partner in the town. I'm not just saying that because we've got the mayor and the mayor pro tem on our board, but that is support in and of itself as well, right? That is leadership from the town perspective on our board. So I think that we have a great working relationship. We have in our budget 2 positions. And we can probably have a conversation about, a level of support for those positions as we move forward in the future. Because I think that we provide, as a CDC, a value add to the town as well. So these are conversations that I'm confident that we can have very, very constructively as we move forward.
Appreciate it. And it's not, it's just more of, open dialogue. I think it's good to highlight it. We have, it's on YouTube and people watch it, but to know that there's a partnership and all of this is intentional. And, like you said, Cousin Tom, it's long overdue, but we are, the investment is being made, time is being spent, dollars are going out, and we are trying to push our culture forward. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Boxley, we want to thank you so much for what is obvious, the time and energy that went into making this proposed budget. We've entertained the discussion on it. Can I get a motion to approve it as presented so we can move forward?
All right, question. Alex, did you want to have that other discussion before approving it? Or did you?
No.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Not at all. No.
Is there a motion?
I move that the Gullah Geechee Historic Neighborhood Community Development Corporation Board approve the fiscal year 2026 budget as proposed by the executive director.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Properly moved and second that the proposed budget for next calendar year be approved. So moved, so ordered. All right. Thank you so much.
Take a vote so that Zendaya can get it.
All right. All in favor? Got it? Thank you so much for keeping me on track. I try. All right, so we have fulfilled our obligations as it pertains to what is the written agenda items. Do we have any persons here, non-agenda items of public comment? We'll open the floor for that at this moment, at this time. All right, none, there being none. Can I get a motion for adjournment? And thank you so much for your participation, your interest in this committee and what we do. And once again, the work that you guys are doing is priceless. You are building in a succession plan. Can't say enough about our young people. You're providing opportunities for them, a platform, planting seeds that they may not have even known that was there. So kudos to you for what you continue to do moving forward. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your presence in today's meeting. Motion to adjourn? All right, second. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Gavel it.